There you go, guys. We're recording now. Perfect. And I get to edit that part out. So I got to stop saying things like that because it's editing's a real pain. I haven't learned how to do it yet. So we're doing this is the operations group, and I've posed 3 questions into the chat to the questions thread to get us going. But I'm happy to hear yours. Everything about what makes a business run, and the thing I'm seeing more pressing right now with the oncoming challenges from the tariffs. We were already having economic challenges going into that. So in the mindset of people, when there's uncertainty, they kind of want to freeze and they don't want to do things, but they still got to keep doing business, right? So I posed 3 questions. You're welcome to use those or another challenge that you're finding and another way forward that you're doing for yourself when you introduce yourself. So the 3 I put in there: should we encourage clients to focus on increasing profit margins by reducing costs through automation or other system improvements? Will that strategy face pushback because clients want to hold all non-revenue related activities right now? The other one I had, and this has been an ongoing thing about Canada's productivity compared to other developing nations. So Canada's productivity per employee significantly trails that of the United States, roughly 72% of their productivity. While many factors contribute to the issue, experts often suggest that it's the results of lower capital investments. Canadian businesses tend to invest less in machinery, tools, and technology per worker compared to the US counterparts. How can we encourage our clients to invest more during downtimes? That's another one. And you can rephrase that in whatever way makes sense for you. And the last one I threw in there: given the forecast of poor economic times ahead, our clients will focus on reducing costs. What are you doing to introduce lower cost services to keep projects moving forward for yourself? What are like I've been thinking of, what's a small priced service that can be like a risk-free trial of what I do? And I'm thinking about, in times like this, how do we price like that? So I'm just going to let you guys take your time, introduce yourselves, and then ask that question and answer it if you have an answer it to as well. You have time. There's just a few of us on the call right now, so we got time. So I'm going to go. Eden was in first, troubleshooting with me, so I'll let her go first. Go ahead, Eden.
Okay, I'm losing my voice a bit, so bear with me. So I'm Eden Spodek, founder of Spodek & Co. We're a digital marketing company, and in order to adjust to these interesting times, I've done a couple. I guess I'll tell you as my introduction, I can start to answer some of Richard's questions. So I've had to really cut down our team, focusing on, there are typically 2 employees. Right now there's 1, and you're looking at her. And anything else is being done by contract workers. One who's currently working is working because there are active client projects she's in the middle of, and the clients want to be working with her, and she has skills I don't. Otherwise, at the moment, I'm focusing almost on solopreneur land. In that as well, we have launched a few times, but today we have a new video out, and I'm going to go a little harder in the marketing. Our digital marketing roadmap, which is a strategy service product hybrid, and it really works with different size businesses because we meet you where you are. There's a video out now. It's on my LinkedIn. Feel free to have a look. I may pop it into Heartbeat, maybe as part of my bio or something else if Richard's okay to that. I have to update my bio. So we have that because strategy has been a big piece for us, and it tends to serve us well. The other thing that has come up a lot especially over the past year for us, and where we've seen and continue to see a potential growth area, is in instructional design. And between our background in digital, background in adult education, and course development, that is really something I'm pushing hard on for me, because I have the experience at the post-secondary adult education level as well. So there's the credentials, and I'm changing the terminology. Have to update our website. I don't want to spend money there yet. So that's coming. And I also last year became a certified leadership and executive coach. So those are the 3. And I know some would say I'm diversifying too much, although there's a big connection between the digital marketing and the instructional learning are heavily connected. And the leadership coaching is very interesting because I've also developed a product. Everything kind of ties together that brings our digital roadmap, adult education, and the instructional learning and coaching together, because I've created a course for coaches, helping them to create their online, for new coaches, helping them to create their online footprint. So I've tied it all together. It's not like there's all these disparate pieces. The digital roadmap was born out of our digital strategy offering, which used to have a very big price gap depending on the size of the business. We've brought it right down and basically saying, we serve you where you are. We give the clients the tools if they want to do this roadmap, which is also a high-level strategy and audit. If they want to hire us for that service and take it away and do it on their implement the recommendations on their own, they can. If they want us to provide strategic counsel and help them do it from that perspective, but not do the hands-on stuff, they can hire us to do that. And if they want us to actually do the full-on execution and implementation, we can do that as well. And I've also been promoting and winning business with me strictly providing strategic counsel as well, which is something that we've had on our website for a long time. It just isn't something people have been as interested in unless they were getting a bunch of other services and they'd get an hour here or there. But I'm actually selling packages like that now, which I'm happy about because it puts me in a happy place and it also helps me generate revenue, except it doesn't scale. And then I guess the other thing I'm doing is building different partnerships with colleagues and, networking the crap out of things. That probably answered at least some of your questions. Richard?
I like it. I'm going to summarize because I may get it wrong.
Okay, and then I'm going to add one other piece.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
okay,
please.
just an aside. Mostly through, but not exclusively through my coaching, I've been talking to a lot of people in the U.S. lately. The people I've been connected to there, and 4 of them have been completely random. All appear to be in blue or aspire to be in blue states. They have all been incredibly emotionally raw with what's going on and very apologetic. I think also Canadians are under the perception that it's us who's hurting and they're not. I would say to you, a lot of them are hurting. A lot of them have had their jobs changed or eliminated. And I spoke with somebody at length who has a similar business to mine last week. And her business has been feeling the same economic crunch that those of us that I've spoken to in Canada who own small businesses have been feeling over the last year and especially the last 6 months or so. So I just thought I would add that because it's been it's interesting to change your perspective. And I don't feel like we're so victimized anymore. I feel like a lot of us are sharing that. We just might come to it in different ways. I work with people who work in HR and DEI. I work with people who have Doge top on, with their departments on the chopping block. And just, I'm hearing a lot of things that I can't share. I hear some things that I can. And it's just, I think we're all feeling it in different ways. So that's my 3 cents.
I like it. And you shared a lot. So the first one is a roadmap, which I really, that's what I'm kind of thinking of as like almost an assessment, entry level sort of like, I get to know you.
Or reassessment. Reassessment.
Yeah. So you could do it reoccurring, like quarterly, annually.
And or someone who has their marketing plan in place or strategy and wants someone else, another pair of eyes to go in or group of eyes to go in and just, sometimes you don't see what's right in front of you. It's just, it gets you going again.
And I really like that. So I'm thinking about the first moment of engagement when we're talking and especially when I'm coming and I don't know you, but even if I'm coming and I haven't done work with you for a long time, I like that there's the option that I could take this away and do what. So at the end of this engagement, it's a win-win. I get something from it. You get something. You get to know the client better. You get to mine around for little ways you can help them. That was really good. I like that. And that's definitely one of the items I've been thinking a lot about. I got a really good email from Mo Wang. If you guys remember Mo, she comes back. She's delivering the AI, like more AI leadership and AI consulting right now. But she had a link that led to a booklet that shared some free how-tos that would be, I think, difficult to do on your own, but she spelled them out in really well polished language. Anyhow, an example of an assessment as a first entry point into doing service reviews. So I like that. The other one I heard, and I might have half heard this, but that you're going to develop a course for some of the services that you do. Like it could have been your coaching services. Did I hear
Well,
something like that?
okay, so we're helping businesses create online courses.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
have a video partner as well. And we'll work with different video partners, but it's just a very logical piece that we work together on the content side. We can either do the development of an LMS with being platform agnostic. I'm happy to partner with other people in this group. I don't have to keep it in-house because I kind of want to spread out where our development is sitting right now. And so, the content, the strategy we can keep and we can do. So that's a big part of what my next piece that I will be pitching is around that as we develop more case studies. And it sets itself up well for partnership. Yes, I also have a course that I have developed that helps new certified coaches create their own digital footprint. And so it brings everything together. Right now, though, it is synchronous as opposed to asynchronous, done, in real time. And then people have takeaways, and it's based on the digital roadmap program with hand holding and discussion. And the coaching one is done through a coaching lens. If anybody, I should also talk to you about Alex Hallcroft, because he and I are talking about something that might be interesting related. I forgot about that. So that one is done through a coaching lens. So I'm delivering it as a coach, which may be meaningless here. It helps me with my credentials because the International Coaching Federation loves to hear that their members are creating adult education for coaches or education for coaches. I'm also speaking with Alex Hallcroft, who has he's a digital marketer also with a big inroad with BIAs. I have a client in that space, and talking about how we can deliver training for BIAs together and perhaps a variation of a hybrid digital roadmap product or service. So
BIA acronym, just for
business improvement area is one term, and then there's other similar ones. So, all of geographies all across North America have them. I think now we're looking at Canada, but we have that.
I like that you're doing courses for the client because they could take that package and resell it. So it's like they're getting multiple return on investment. And I like that you're doing a course because it takes a very expensive what your one-on-one service would be, and makes it easily duplicated by you and accessible to all, and also brings the price down. So those are all neat options as well. So I'm just gonna go, Rob. What you introduce yourself, Rob, and then talk about from an operations perspective. What are you doing? I've heard you repackage your service a couple different times. What are you doing in these days?
So I think I almost know everyone here. Eden and I know each other. Eden, actually, amazing stuff you're working on. So that's really fabulous.
Thank you. Trying, it's got to convert. I'm working on that.
Yeah,
piece.
that was the trick, right? Yeah, took a bunch of notes actually. So hopefully you don't mind if I borrow some of those ideas. And Sanjay, I'm not sure if we met, and Ryan, it's nice to meet you as well. So it's great to see all of you there. So my name's Rob. I am the owner of Web Dev Interactive, and we essentially started off as a web development shop, so building websites for different companies. And then actually through this business group, this business group 1.0, I guess we're in 2.0 now, right, Rich? Met a bunch of agencies, and a lot of them are now using us as their web development hands. So where they'll do a lot of the other things that their clients need when it comes to the websites or landing pages, we'll build those out for them. So we'll take that pressure off of them and provide that solution. So that's kind of what our core business has been. Over the last little while, I guess in regards to those questions, I'll say for the last question in terms of moving forwards, the projects, I'm just looking at it again here now. So lower cost services. So I guess sort of a twofold thing. One is that my business coach had always recommended that I never reduce my prices in any way, but I just do less for less money. So instead of a project being X amount, the project is now, half of X for half of the money. And then the scope is just a little bit smaller. And I actually kind of want to raise my prices, but I probably shouldn't at this point. So that's something that I'm trying to hold on to. And I know things are difficult. We also really want to serve and be a blessing to the people we work with. So I do want to be conscious of how their businesses are being affected. And like, even as you had mentioned, with what's going on in the States and the economic things that are happening, it's definitely tricky. Because we have a lot of agencies that we work with, I've kind of stopped trying to go out and get websites to build myself, just because it's really hard to do. It's so much easier when agencies bring me the work. But what it does do is it leaves a gap where I'm dependent on them for bringing in work. And as things might become a little bit more challenging in the next little while, I've kind of chosen to focus a little bit more on two things. One is because I know a lot of people are going to be hurting for work and hurting for income. There's a whole industry out there about providing access to side hustles for people. So this is a little bit of like my own side hustle to my business. People are looking for side hustles now to be able to bring in money that they can't through their job, or just really they need to pivot altogether. So I've been doing quite a bit of work on providing and creating assets. So basically assets, websites, services for people, and ads for people that are looking for side hustles. And it's actually been quite amazing how many, a very simple ad about, is your job not paying enough? Are you looking for a side hustle? How many leads are coming in from that, because everyone seems to be looking for that sort of thing. So that's the other side of the thing. So different than the website build of things, but I need to pivot a little bit to kind of try to take advantage of that gap that's appearing on the website side of things. And I'll just end with this, is that in order to try to get more connections with clients, I am starting to provide chatbots for free for businesses. So putting up ads to, basically say, we'll provide you for a free, a free chatbot for a year. And it's really my door to get into that business. Once I get into that business, and, again, even with what you mentioned, we have a scorecard, which then evaluates the business to see where their strengths and weaknesses are. And that scorecard will tell me, like, do they have a CRM? Are they using a CRM? Are they doing any kind of marketing whatsoever? Are they doing any kind of ads whatsoever? When was the last time they updated their website? All of those sorts of things. So at the end of that scorecard, I pretty much know everything that business could be doing better. And then as a result, I'm able to then have that conversation. But the foot in the door is basically offering a free chatbot so that we can put that on their website. Because usually once I have that conversation with people and I've met with them, people say for the most part I'm likable. Hopefully you guys would agree with that. But once we have that conversation, it's usually easier to then talk about more of the business side of things, which they would need, once that icebreaker has happened, and then be able to fill in the gaps for some of those weaknesses that we see. So yeah. Anything I missed there? I know there's some other questions there, but hopefully that incorporated some of those things.
Are you more
Go ahead, Ryan.
director, or do you have a lot of employees underneath of you? Because I hate agencies. Like working underneath of an agency, at being an agency, like I felt like if it's more than 2 levels of like communication, it screws up, and then like it causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's a great question, Ryan. So I have a very, 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 very strict guidelines of which, when I work with an agency, what that will look like. I have very strict review cycles, timelines for these things. So, and I'm really lucky. The agencies that I do work with have been really good at maintaining those and keeping those. And I also work into my price structure that if those cycles are being abused, or not abused, but not being adhered to, then the project cost goes up. So whenever I quote for a project, I always quote a range for a project. So this project should land somewhere between 15 to 20K. It'll be 15K if you manage your client well. It'll be 20K if you don't.
Yeah.
And so as you know, when the client's not responding or not falling within the revision cycles or approval cycles, then I just start bumping that closer to the higher range as the incentive for the agency that I'm working with to make sure that they've reined in their clients. So, and again, with whom I've worked with, it's been great. Not everyone would work under the strictness that I try to employ. Yeah.
You also have, and this might have changed, but you also have a relationship with the owners as well. You're not coming in at like a project manager level or whatnot too, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's all been through this business group. So like Clear Digital, On Purpose, Snow Collective, some of those agencies and some agencies outside of that as well. So the introductions are always made in this group. So it always started off as a friendly, fun, relationship. And then we were able to find, alignment in where we could work and then go from there. Yeah. So it's a great point, Rich. Having that rapport helps me not sound like a terrible person to work with. It's just we need everyone to have a win-win. We want you as the agency to have enough margin on your project, and we need enough margin on our project so that it's worthwhile us doing it. So if it's a win-win for everyone, and the client needs boundaries, and a lot of times the agencies we work with don't know how to put boundaries on the client because they're afraid to say no in a lot of cases. But the end client tends to like having boundaries because then they know what they're working with as well. So so sometimes it's super tricky and difficult, but for the most part, once we kind of find our cadence there, it works out pretty well.
So Ryan, I totally can sympathize what you're describing. I actually brought Rob into an agency where it was very conducive. It was a very high speed. We came in at a low level. He actually came in as a project manager for us. Do you remember what? I'm not going to say the name actually. Sorry, never mind. But I could totally agree with you. I think there's a number of others that work for larger agencies at that same sort of where you're working for an employee, like so you're too far down from the actual decision makers that you can get battered around a lot of it. And you tend to be the tail on the dog, the tip of the tail. You're just taking a lot of whipping from that. So I can
for sure.
I can agree with that. Ryan, go ahead and introduce yourself. I know you've met Eden, but you haven't met Rob, and he'd probably like to know what you do as well.
Yeah. So I kind of do the same thing as you, but I think bigger scale. So we do software development for clients. We don't do basic websites. We do like web apps, mobile apps, AI solutions. I've been in business for 8 years. I have 40 employees, and almost all my clients are in the US. I have barely any Canadian clients. I also am very good at recruitment, so I can find people for like $1 to $3 an hour Canadian, work our time zone and do work for us. So like VA, quality assurance. Like a lot of my developers are $3 an hour US. Like I can we're very, very, very good at recruitment.
We got to talk.
So the biggest problem is more like the people who are managing developers. I think they have unrealistic expectation. You can't expect a $3 developer to be as good as the 100K developer in Canada, right? Yeah. People do expect that, right? And then it's just you don't want to.
Yeah.
So that's about me. And then I also run the fractional dinners. I don't know if Richard mentioned a few times. So I try to bring together consultants, agency owners, fractional people together because they're all roughly the same job title, and like you can actually help make partnerships and make referrals for each other. So I do that I'm going to do it like twice a quarter. And because AI gotten a lot better in the last 2 years, it's really threatening the business of like making software for clients because the perception now is I can use AI to make my software. Why am I paying $10,000 or $20,000 to do it? So it's like, I made a kind of a pivot last year. So I said, okay, I'm going to launch products in addition to doing the software. So basically I got clients to give me equity and pay me for the projects. So we did 12 products last year. 8 of them didn't really go anywhere. And like we have 4 of them that are going now. So one of them closed like a 500K first client, enterprise client. The other ones are working their way up. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And in terms of efficiency, I think sales has been a lot slower for me as well. But one thing I've been doing is just leveraging the AI technology to make things faster. So now we can basically almost build any SaaS software as long as it's not like heavy logic. We can build it within 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
And just using AI. And one thing we've done now is you've heard about AI design, right? Where it's like, hey, make me a landing page of this. All of them really suck when it comes to anything that's more than one page. One page, great, right?
Even one page, they kind of suck. Sorry, and graphics.
Make it work for multi-pages, so we can make it consistent. So let's say you wireframe out I don't know if you guys know all the term wireframe. Like you can wireframe out the website, and then you can go on Dribble, find a really nice polished design, and then tell the AI to reskin it to be like this, and it works really well.
Oh wow,
That's
amazing.
And we have it down packed. And then for the back end, we're automating that. And so for me, I think, like I said, I'm trying to, if I can get the project down to like a week, let's say before it took 4 weeks, now I can get down to a week, then there's more time for QA. And if the prices need to drop, then they can drop. So that's kind of how I think about it. But it's just, I just feel like this business is getting more miserable every year as AI comes out. It's just not fun. Like it's way harder than people think it is. Like managing developers is a totally different skill. Just compared to even coding, right? And then they have to deal with the client management of like unrealistic expectations. And then basically, if you have too much logic, the project becomes a nightmare as well. Even if like you're smart, you did everything right, things always go wrong. So I really hope like all the product stuff goes well. Like it's like really stressful right now because I think like I'm literally managing 5 products on top of the agency. So hopefully maybe like transition off of client projects in the future. That's kind of how I'm thinking.
I like what you're saying too, Ryan. So products is another way to repackage and make things more affordable and to resell, right? You get recurring revenue from it.
There's some that are products and some are productized services. For example, like AI voice. You guys seen a lot of those ads, how the AI can call for you. All those businesses are not going to make it, basically. Like one thing I learned from that was that it's not a SaaS business. It's the productized service. Because writing the script is really hard. Like you can't just be a dummy and just go do it, right? There's so many problems in the middle. Like your number went to spam. It's now a spam number. What do? Right? Like when should you call them during the day? Oh, should you use a male voice or female voice? Oh, like, and then how do you tweak it so it says less? So that's one of them we're doing, and hopefully that one takes off faster. But yeah, that's just one example.
I like that. So you're also chunking up the productization as well. So like this little service, maybe the one thing you need to move forward. Here it is. And it reduces. It's not a custom build, basically.
I'm trying to slowly not do as much custom build.
And also here you're saying trying to reduce your costs. Potentially, you're going to share some of that with the clients. Maybe not. I don't know. By bringing production down from 4 weeks to 1 week and just getting really good at the quality end of that, which is also again hidden costs for anybody that would hire. So there's a lot in there in terms of what you're doing as reacting to the market and then sharing that as a benefit to the client. So that's really good. Sanjay, are you able to talk or are you in a bad spot right now that you can only listen? I'm asking him that.
No,
Hopefully,
I'm at the dealership. How's my noise canceling working?
it's good. I don't hear it.
Sounds
Do
good.
you want to try taking a little bit to introduce yourself and maybe answer?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks,
Yeah,
Sanjay.
yeah. I've been listening for the most part. I'm just at the dealership because I drove home through the winter storm and I hit a curb. So yeah, trying to get things resolved here. Yeah. So my name is Sanjay, and I've been part of Richard Groups for a while and now I'm mainly focused on doing fractional operations work. Um, I've had my own consulting company since 2019, but I've been doing it full time since 2022. And so my focus has really become more niche into food and beverage companies in the last, I want to say 6 months. I just decided to focus more so on the food industry. And when I say food industry, it's also like mission-driven companies that are creating better for us products. I think that was a result of me trying to uncover some more passion in what I was doing. I've done work for enterprise level companies. I've worked 12 years with large companies like Royal Leaders and Bell Canada. And as a consultant, I did a few project implementations with Staples Canada as a business process improvement person, and yeah, 2023. Uh, I feel like things have been bad for a while in terms of economic situation, and I think we're probably not at the bottom yet, but something like this current tariff situation is adding to the turmoil. And for me, I don't know if I've really accounted for this. A lot of the people in my industry are impacted because they have consumer product goods, and so shipping to the States has been I don't want to say more difficult because it hasn't really happened yet. I think a lot of it is just like anticipation of what's going to happen. And so if you think about like what's happened in the last, I don't know, year, we went from maybe like $1.30, $1.31 Canadian to USD to whatever it is now, like $1.47 or whatever. So if you look at that 15% decrease in the Canadian dollar, and then you factor in a 25% tariff, I think effectively you're looking at about a 10% increase if you're passing off your cost of goods sold to the customer. So I think we need to focus on the good stuff or whatever the opportunities are. Like a lot of people are saying, like especially people in my industry are getting a bit of a boost from Canadian retailers who are doing Buy Canadian programs. There's many companies out there that now have started promoting more of the Canadian companies because they're also gonna like Canadian companies are also gonna be impacted by higher prices as well. So that's my take on the tariffs. Uh, and in terms of like pivoting, I was just gonna add so niche down to the industry that I wanted to work with, as well as working on the corporate wellness side. So the thing like I do operations consulting, and people process and systems are like your main pillars to improving most companies. And so I find that systems and processes are the least difficult when it comes to those three things. I think people is one of the hardest things. And so we can go in as operations people, we can go in, fix a company's processes and systems and operations for the most part. But if you don't have the right people in place, or the culture is inconducive to growth or is toxic, then we're not going to experience growth and desired outcomes. So for that reason, um, I have partnered with Anjay. Richard, you know Anjay Niziak. He hasn't been on here in a while, but like ever since meeting him in this group, we've become really close friends, and we've gone into partnership together to work more on the wellness side because he's really into health and wellness, and he's been doing it for over 20 years, and so he's an expert in that space, especially qigong. And so we discovered that through breathwork, we can actually reduce stress, anxiety, improve focus, and productivity. So we've been on that. We've been on that uh, project for a while now, and we're actually building a community too around that. Which I had a post on LinkedIn about that today.
I'll have to take a look at that. So there's a couple of things there. All of you have said partners and looking for partnerships to extend your reach from a sales perspective or from a servicing perspective. That was interesting. There's one thing I'm probably doing math in front of people on live. I keep thinking of, so one thing you were talking about the dollar, the difference between the US and Canadian dollar. Our dollar is being heavily discounted, which is usually a benefit from an export perspective. Like you become cheaper. The tariffs on top of that obviously raise that, but when you still compare the US dollar to Canada, the Canadian dollar, even with the tariffs in, with that discount, there's the people that are buying your services are still going to receive a discounted service. If you look at it dollar for dollar, right? The American dollar is going to continue to rise through this process. So I don't know if you guys agree with me or disagree with that. Ryan, you said you're selling a lot in the
I
US.
charge US dollar. There's no discount.
Okay. Okay.
So we just make more money. Hire the cost. But some of my employees are USD, not so it's not as great. But yeah.
And I needed myself. Thanks, Eden. Yeah. So you sell directly, but so your costs, do you ever talk about you being Canadian and they automatically assume they're getting a discount because you're a Canadian firm? Or so you just go out as an American? Okay. What about you, Sad? Do you see that logic of what I was saying, or do you disagree?
Too much hassle. You know what's so funny? When I had a few enterprise clients, they're like, how do I pay you? Like, what's your routing number? Right? And it's like, so like I have a US bank account, but like it's still a little bit messy, right? So like they don't even want to pay you Canadian dollar.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I still still do a lot of business in the US, but still promote as being a Canadian company. So they're automatically assuming they're getting some kind of discount in there. Sanjay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have more US clients. I just haven't focused on there enough. I do have somebody doing outbound prospecting for me. That's dialing out food and beverage companies in Canada. And so I think there's an opportunity for somebody like me who does operations consulting. And like you said, that you get a discount because you are a Canadian company. And I think it's cheaper for them to hire us than hire one of their own companies. Because like if you look at a data analyst like 12 years ago when I first started, like 40K was the base. That was Canadian. And so let's just say like I got the exact same job in the US. I'm making 40K USD for the exact same job. And I've heard that to be true with so many jobs. Like the equivalent job in the US is going to pay the same money.
Rob, what about you? Do you still outsource for some of the services? Like, are you being impacted by that at all with all this, the dollar shrinking and whatnot?
No, so far it's been okay. So I do a lot of Upwork people, and it hasn't really affected because it's all sort of like individual through Upwork, like freelancers through Upwork. So I haven't had anyone say, well, I'm increasing my rates or anything like that so far. So yeah, I've been okay. But I really love to figure out how to get a $3 developer.
You don't use Upwork.
What's that?
You don't use Upwork. Because the whole idea
Yeah.
of Upwork is it's really bad for if you want like people who are paid by the hour, they think about life differently than people who are full time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're someone full time, like okay, I'm dedicated to this company, I'm going to do this work. They're just thinking about the work. The hourly guy's like, oh shoot, I don't have 2 hours here. How do I make up the other 6 hours? Like part of their mind's always thinking about that. So then I think they're very good for very mono tasks where like no guidance is needed. Here's the spec, go do it. Away you go, right? Anything that's not that, you need thinking and stuff. I just think it's not good. It's the wrong for people.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. I had to work pretty hard to find the right people. Like I would always have to do tests and little projects to, and hire 5 people on them and figure out which of the, of them is the best one. And so over time, I've kind of found some good people, but it's a lot of work to get that far.
We do like 100 interviews a week. I have a full-time interviewer.
Oh, really?
$1 an hour that interviews everyone. And
yeah, that's a lot of work.
You will not want to do the work to find the $3 developer.
Yeah,
I've heard that same for others that do VAs. I've heard that you have to have that process. Like Rob, you've done it too. I mean, you did test. Okay, build this for me. You do go check the quality. Then you stay pretty.
It's hard now because you have Cursor, right? They can use AI coding to solve almost all problems. Any test they can pass with AI coding. So you would have to make a test that's so hard that the AI coding cannot do. And that actually makes it worse. You can't tell if someone's good or bad. Like I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
2 months ago, no, 2 months, 3 months ago, let's say our pass rate per month of people passing the test was, let's say 3 in 300 people, right? Like a month or two ago, like 1 month or 2 months ago now, it's like 15.
Wow.
What's changed?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's
Yeah.
even harder to tell if someone's good or bad. This is why I can't even do take-home tests anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's because we do a lot of Elementor work, so WordPress Elementor work, those sorts of things. So, and then I would test people on doing QC on the website. So find me the 5 problems on the website that as a QC person you should be able to find, those sorts of things. So I think I'm lucky so far in that it would be a little more challenging for AI to do that. But if it was just pure up coding, yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, it would be impossible like to
Actually,
weed out the AI people.
real developers
I think you,
than define WordPress developers, because the mentality is this: if I was a good developer, I would not go into WordPress. Does it make sense? Like, it's not a skill you learn from school, right? Like, you would say, I want to be a Java developer, I want to be a Node.js developer. So it's easy to find a $3 developer. I don't think you can find a WordPress developer for $3. That can be functional, I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me.
I think too, Rob, you got a loyalty with them too. You give them a fair amount of business, so they're they're pretty reliant on you, and you can see over time how well they are and how well they are to work with, and how easy they are to work with, and that brings down the cost for your perspective too, right?
Yeah, and I think I've been lucky too because I keep finding these like extremely introverted guys that don't have the ability to sell themselves on Upwork or anywhere else, and don't get any other work because Upwork is so competitive that I found a niche with a few people that are like that and then as soon as I found out how good they were, like Ryan, you would appreciate this, like the kind of people that don't take advantage of the hours. If it takes an hour, they'll charge me an hour.
I lost trust in that. At a small scale, I have 40 employees. There's no way I can watch and micromanage 40 people.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've lost trust in, like, when I hire people, I don't, like, even through a test, like, I'm not, like, you won't believe it or not, I don't even talk to them once. A lot of times I just see their name. I don't know how they look. I don't know how they sound. I've never like and then they work.
Yeah.
You don't know someone until like a month later, basically. So like I don't bother. It's just like, can you step it up, or are you gonna quit yourself? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
yeah. So I think I've been really lucky then so far. I don't think that I'm the norm by any means. There's been a lot of luck in the people I've found.
So I would say, so Sandy, maybe this is a question for you. Hopefully you can answer like this, the operation. What are the
sorry guys, I actually have
look,
to run to a meeting. I just realized the time, but it was really great meeting you, Ryan. We should connect outside. Love to, chat business and see all the fun things that you do.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I just show you a message on, like, and then
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Richard. Okay, bye.
So Sanjay, I was going to say, and this could be the last question. We can chew on, and then we can all go. That idea of, hey, you need to reduce costs to increase your profit margin, because in a climate like this, it would be hard to raise rates, right? So both of us, we got a bit of a business process re-engineering background to that extent. What are your thoughts about selling those type of services and say, look, you know what, I can help you reduce your costs, get back your profit margins without having to increase revenue? Is that a viable path forward, or are people going to be concerned because now you're working on costs and not revenue?
Yeah, I actually haven't been so focused on increasing profit margin as much as I should be. And I think that passing on the cost is sometimes expected in terms of like, so if I have a company right now, and like if I don't increase my price once the tariffs go up, then the customer, I'm wondering like what's going on, like why haven't you raised my prices yet, right? So I'm telling people that um, become more efficient, increase your profit, like your margins as much as you can, reduce your costs, but then pass on the cost as you need to, because there's an anticipation of it happening anyways. And so when you increase your prices, then you're operating at better profits, because I've had companies that I've worked for that were operating, and anytime they sold one product, they went, $2 in debt. And so I don't want companies to do that. Like, you want to be profitable, or else you might as well just go get a job. because some entrepreneurs are going to put themselves in the debt if they continue to not raise their prices without gaining any additional margin.
That's a really good point. Ryan, same question. What are your
I have,
thoughts?
I have a different point of view. I talked to a lot of people. I think it depends on who's the founder of the company. Basically, like you always stick to your strengths, right? If you're from technology side, you're gonna say, I want to automate, I want to make things cheaper, right? If you're a sales leader, you're gonna be like, how do I sell more clients? How do I improve lead gen? I think that has a more bigger factor than which one you do than anything else, right?
So go for revenue generation rather than cost reduction, basically.
This is who you are, right? If you have
Depends who they're.
you're only good at sales, that's all you're gonna think. That's all you know. So you're gonna, hold on to it no matter what, right?
That's what you. Yeah, that's what you're accountable for, basically, right?
No, it's not just that. Like I know I have a friend who I think they make like $3 million as a marketing agency, and I asked him, I'm like, so like TikTok and stuff's getting big. What are you guys doing? He's like, oh, we didn't innovate at all. We make enough money just doing SEO. Why would we innovate? And the reason is he can't do marketing himself. He's just a good sales guy.
Right. Interesting.
Right? Versus like Richard, someone like you're like, oh, okay, I can figure out how I can use AI for this. And then you would try to innovate, right? Like I just think it's just depending on who's the leader of the company.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, guys, this has been good. I'm going to wrap things up because we did get a little bit over. Apologies again for the little bit of the mishap trying to get logged in. I'm going to sort that out as soon as I can, and then redo all those events so they have the right link in them. What happened? Yeah. Anyhow, growing pains kind of thing. So apologies for that. And I think the next time we're going to meet together, Ryan, I think the next time I'm going to see you is probably at your event on the 25th comes first. But the next time we're going to do just an all around breakout room for everybody, where just an opportunity to get to know people better. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to get all things lined up, and then we'll hopefully have a lot more people that we can go through then at that time. But I appreciate you guys.
Cool.
Thanks for jumping on. Even at the dealership, Sanjay, appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Ryan, what's your company's name? I don't think we're connected.
I can get you his contact info. Actually, Sanjay, you're in the app. You can find Ryan's in the app as well, in the B2B cohort. So you'll find him there, and he has his LinkedIn profile. There you go. He's got it up there.
Awesome.
Grab it now.
Okay.
Grab it now, because it'll disappear when I click cancel call. Let me know when you got it.
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna reach out to you because maybe not maybe, but like a product is definitely the way to go. I think with everything, like consulting for me was to just get my foot out the door from corporate. I've always wanted to create a product, whether it's like a SaaS product or a CPG product. So I have a few ideas that I might talk to you about, Ryan.
Sure. No problem.
Perfect, guys. Thanks so much
Thanks,
again,
Richard.
guys. Excellent. Talk to
Have
you
a
again
great
next
evening.
week.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.